Kind words and good emanation frequency, proven most beneficial in a medically. It can bring down the tone, so not to riot stampede. It can reach to your soul and feel to your need. Someone can relate, bring an instant healing. A healing.
So I want to take a quick break from the guild system to address something important. The world is suffering from more and more indifference towards one another, and more verbal cruelty in a time when there is more potential for unity than ever before in recorded history. There is a saying, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle, with many different iterations of basically the same idea. I would say this is an understatement. This proverb should be something more like, be kind to everyone you meet, for the battle they fight is custom tailored to be as difficult as possible for the lesson their soul is meant to learn in this life. Let me explain. A good example of this is in the Torah, if you know some of the Kabbalistic principles attached to the stories, especially in the story of the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac with Abraham. King David's story too, but I think we'll address that another time. So the mysticism teaches Abraham Avinu was the embodiment of chesed, that is loving kindness, and Yitzhak Avinu, or Isaac, was the embodiment of gevura, which is justice or harsh judgment according to the law. What would be the hardest test for someone who is purely loving kindness? I'd say having to sacrifice the son you waited 100 years to have and loved more than anything. A loving person could not even imagine such a horrible request, and yet Abraham packed his donkey, took his other son and his helper, and went to do just that. What would be the hardest test for someone who believed in the law so fully that they embodied the judgment associated with disobeying said law? It would be the commandment to give your own life to abide in the law. Abraham didn't have to willingly give his beloved son to be sacrificed. He could have said no. And by Jewish oral traditions, Isaac was in his 30s, not a small boy that the movies like to show, and could have easily overpowered his father and walked away without being sacrificed. Yet both these men were willing to go against everything they were about in order to fulfill the will of the Creator. Abraham went against every instinct of love, and Isaac against every instinct of following the law. Neither was made to fulfill the request, but both were willing to do so. Abraham, so filled with love, would probably have had an easier time giving his life up for the things he loved. Isaac, who embodied justice, may have had an easier time taking a life if he believed it was in the name of judgment and justice. Both requests would be insanely difficult for anyone, but flipped around, they may have been slightly easier for them than what they were asked to do. This shows us that in life, we are often faced with challenges that are the hardest possible thing for us to do. We must face those things wholeheartedly, even if in the end, we don't have to follow through with them. It also teaches us that the will of the divine that speaks through our souls should be honored and respected even above our own nature. And even when we know that nature is pure and true, we never know why we are being tested, but we must trust that our souls, or the spark of the divine within, may be hard to understand at times, but it will never, in the end, have us do something evil or wrong. But it will test us to see how far we are willing to go when asked. Abraham was rewarded with countless more children and wealth beyond comprehension. And they say Isaac, who was willing to give up his own life, glowed with radiant light the rest of his life, and was considered one of the most righteous men to ever walk the earth. Isaac was without an equal in his time. We don't always know why we are being tested, but passing the test will benefit us more than we can ever imagine. So I'd say be kind to each other. Love your fellow human beings as you love yourself, because they are fighting the hardest possible battle that their soul can take, and are being pushed to the very limits of everything they are and everything they embody. And as Rabbi Akiva said, it is through this loving of others, as we love ourselves, that we show that we love God above all else. Good deed of the week. Think about your own nature and what would be the hardest thing for you to sacrifice. And then ask yourself, could you or would you do it? For extra credit, think about this each day of the week.
Rasta man, keep on pushing it. Don't you lose it if you give it up, you deny yourself. Oh yeah, keep on pushing it. Don't watch the hypocrite, love word more than material wealth. Alright, keep on pushing it. Don't you lose it if you give it up, you deny yourself. Alright, keep on pushing it. Don't watch the hypocrite, life worth more than material wealth.